Welcome to episode number 61 of the Active Geek podcast entitled Justice League Dark. So Chuck and I are reviewing the upcoming DC animated feature film Justice League Dark, which stars Matt Ryan. In this episode, we are focusing on a little bit of the history and the members of the Justice League Dark as far as the comic books are concerned. And then we talk about the movie. And then we talk about the chances of the Justice League Dark getting a feature film in live action form as opposed to the animated film. We also talk about DC's reluctancy to do a feature film without Batman involved. Is it good or is it bad? You'll have to listen to the episode to see what I think and what Chuck thinks. During this episode, we hadn't seen the movie. Leading up to it, we were really hyped up about it, looking forward to it. And since recording this episode, we've seen the movie. And I can say, personally, it's my favorite DC animated feature film. And that's got a lot of really good contenders in there, and this one blew them out of the water. I really enjoyed this, and if you like Constantine and Swamp Thing and Batman and the dark mystic arts and the occult, and you like twists and turns, then this is the animated film for you. So without further ado, this is episode 61 of the Active Geek podcast entitled Justice League Dark. All right, Chuck, so in this episode, we're going to talk about something that we've kind of alluded to in previous episodes, and it's a part of a genre that we really enjoy, and that genre is animated films. Mm-hmm. We've talked about Disney, we've talked about, our love for cartoons, we even did a cartoon episode, but today we're going to talk about the newest DC animated picture, Justice League Dark, and it comes out on February 8th, 2017. So it'll come out a week from the post of this. Before we get into the film and what that entails, we're going to kind of review who the Justice League Dark is, the history of the Justice League Dark, not the whole history, but what the Justice League Dark consists of. So we all know the names: Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, and the Flash. Right? That's the Justice League, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we love these. We know them. We love those heroes." Yep. And they know the Avengers, and they know the Fantastic Four, and now they know the Suicide Squad. But there's a team in the DC comic world that most people don't know, and it's called the Justice League Dark. What do you think about the concept of the Justice League Dark?
I love it because it brings a lot of characters to the forefront that you normally don't know, and it's a darker, grittier take, and anything to involve like the occult or mystic, magic, all those otherworldly realms is awesome.
Yeah, when you think about heroes, for the most part, you think they're fighting criminals and aliens, right? As far as their comic book heroes. I saw the Teen Titans versus the Justice League, right? And they're fighting a demonic entity, Raven's dad, who's the fucking devil. You know what I mean? There are greater villains out there than just the Joker and Black Adam and Bizarro and Doomsday. There are darker entities and darker forces out there that are lurking just to get their hands on mortals and kind of the super humans as well. The concept of the Justice League Dark is to kind of put the lesser known heroes, the darker ones, the ones that the Justice League is kind of embarrassed to unroll. The ones that will get their hands dirty and nobody will ask questions, and then the Justice League can go in there and clean up. The good guys, Suicide Squad, they can just send in there, and if they die, they die. They're not the Green Lantern that you won't miss them if they're dead, or they're not Batman. You won't know if they're gone. So that's my thoughts on the concept of the whole Justice League Dark. What do you think about including all these supernatural elements into this of the series? There's demons and possessions and voodoo, and you said the occult, stuff like that. What do you think of that inclusion into comic books?
I like it because it brings a different element.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? These people aren't these strong, super-powered, flying and throwing cars at people and laser beams and, these detectives. They don't have all this. But they have these mystic, mythical powers. Mm-hmm. Not all of them, but some of them. And it brings a whole new perspective.
Yeah.
To the realms of comic books and the comic book world.
Yeah.
So I really like that aspect because, and Marvel's doing that now with Doctor Strange. Mm-hmm. And it was perceived very, very well. So And then to have a whole team dealing with the mystic arts and stuff like that, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, the whole supernatural and the horror genre of comics and everything is kind of underwhelming. We didn't see a lot of these characters, and until the forefront, brought into the forefront, the main focus was on the faces of the companies. Your Spider-Mans, your Batmans, your Captain Americas, and Supermans, and stuff like that. You don't see the characters that are included in the Justice League Dark. You don't really see them until 2015. Constantine comes up prior to that, there was the Keanu Reeves Constantine movie.
Which wasn't a horror.
It wasn't a bad movie, but it still wasn't a great movie.
No.
So then NBC gets Constantine, and they're like, oh, who's John Constantine? Who's Hellblazer? What is this character? What's this all about? This is different. And then it gets canceled. That was... We know my thoughts on the whole Constantine cancellation. But that was your first inkling of the supernatural elements within DC. It's not all capes and
then they
cows.
also were starting to, and I wish they would have finished it, was introduce Spectre.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
It's all these characters that you really wish you could see, and they kind of moved away from them. So when we think about the members of the team, what do you think about the members that comprise the Justice League Dark?
Well, throughout the years, there have been many members.
Yes, tons.
And
it's a fairly new series. It came out, 2011? Yeah, 2011, the first comic.
And I went through Wikipedia, and a lot I knew, a lot I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to run down some of the members.
You go ahead.
But, there was Andrew Bennett.
Yep, vampire.
Yep.
Immortal vampire.
He's a centuries-old vampire.
Yep.
And then Black Orchid.
Mm-hmm. Who is in the new movie.
He was in, and she's a changeling.
Yep.
And then you have Dr. Mist.
Yep.
Who is an Argus supernatural expert and consultant.
Yep.
And Frankenstein.
Well, Frankenstein, he was a big, and they did I can't remember the name, DC did it, but it wasn't Forever Evil, it was maybe Convergence. DC did a storyline called Convergence, and Frankenstein was a focal point. Yeah, Frankenstein was
that'd be cool.
Was a big focal point.
Of course, we just talked about John Constantine.
Yep. Hellblazer.
And then Dead Man.
Yep.
Who has a weird, kind of generic name, but his power. I mean, he's a ghost of assassinated acrobat who possesses the bodies of the dead.
Yeah, it was kind of like, and in the Flashpoint storyline, Dead Man it's part of Dead Man and the Flying Graysons. So Dead Man was huge in the Blackest Night storyline too. So we did underappreciate a superhero. He is an underappreciated superhero for sure.
And actually,
stupid ass name.
His power sounds a lot like, if you listen to our previous podcast, the personality 666 of Styx.
Yeah, he can control the soul of a dead person.
Yeah. So going on, Madame Xanadu.
Yep.
A mythic fortune teller, Mind Warp. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Who he possesses telepathy and astral projection.
And then there's Zatanna and the two big ones are Zatanna and Swamp Thing.
Zatanna, Swamp Thing. Favorite name? Nightmare Nurse.
Nightmare Nurse is a good one. They don't know. I remember they said her name might be like Alice or some shit like that. They don't know her real name. She's kind of a very very unknown.
But I like
entity.
her power. She can heal even the worst supernatural wounds.
Yeah, she's essential to you have Claire Temple in the Defenders who's Night Nurse, and she heals the superpower, like the street level wounds. Having someone like Nightmare Nurse, again pulled from the same thing, just one supernatural, one street level.
Yeah,
you need somebody to protect you from these demons and these spirits. I really like the concept of the team. John Constantine is amazing, and having somebody who can be kind of like an exorcist and warp kind of dark dimensions and stuff like that. Having him and having Swamp Thing, Swamp Thing goes back to the 80s. I love Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing goes back further than the 80s. He was the predecessor to Man Thing. I think Man Thing came 2 years before Swamp Thing. Not many people know about that. So having them in it, and it's an ugly face of superheroes. You know what I mean? Constantine's a normal looking dude, but like,
but everyone else,
someone like Deadman who looks like Powder,
yeah,
in a red jumpsuit, and then Swamp Thing who looks just like a turd wrapped in moss. You know what I mean? Having these ugly heroes out there, the only one who's really attractive besides a normal looking person is Zatanna, but she's still prancing around in fishnets and a unitard.
And Raven's not.
Oh, well, when Raven is not in demonic form, she's kind of normal. She's like somebody who shops at Hot Topic in the 90s, but when Raven is in her demonic form, her face is red, she's got 4 eyes, 6 eyes. Yeah, she hovers. I mean, she wears a cloak, Chuck. Well, how many people are you walking around with cloaks?
We think Zatanna and John Constantine are humans.
Yeah.
That study the...
But look at what Zatanna wears, though.
I don't complain.
No, I don't complain either, but she's like... You're going to know something's a little off when she's walking around in the streets in fishnets and a onesie. And you have Constantine who he's got his patented brown duster, and he's got the white shirt with the red tie. It's always scruffed out. He's got the cigarette. How many superheroes do you see out there smoking? None. My man, he doesn't want to be a hero. And that kind of, he doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to be normal. He just wants to be a guy who can help people from the dark entities and dark forces. There are so many other characters in the DC canon that could be involved in the Justice League Dark. Heroes or villains, for that matter, right? Because, like I said, Constantine kind of straddles that line. He'll kill you if you have to. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Deadman. Deadman will kill you, or Swamp Thing. They're kind of like the anti-heroes, too. What characters do you think, if you could pick any, should join the team?
I can see, like, Enchantress.
Okay.
As long as it's not the movie version, because it was fucking god-awful.
Where she looks like one of those blow tube things outside of a used car dealer, just like flapping her arms and she's moving around. Yeah, that was terrible.
But the concept of Enchantress,
yeah, the witch part
is really cool. So I could definitely see her in some aspect.
Yeah. Well, she was on my list as well. I also thought Solomon Grundy, would be you need another brute and a bruiser,
and because he's a zombie.
Yeah, so Solomon Grundy would be a good one. A hero that's popular in the Arrow television show, Ragman.
Oh, I love Ragman.
I think Ragman would be a really good choice. I said Enchantress. El Diablo, again, another Suicide Squad member. And then Papa Midnight from the Hellblazer comics.
Yeah.
I really think that at times you would need somebody like that. And even if you go a little bit deeper into, kind of spin-offs and, I guess, family members of the DC canon, Lucifer, who is part of Vertigo Comics, which is a subsidiary of DC Comics. So having someone like him, that would be really cool as well. Having Lucifer, the devil. I mean, that's it's the darkest person out there is the devil. So if he's trying to reform himself, he'd go out there and kill some demons. That's my thought. Who's your favorite member of the team? I bet you I know. Swamp Thing.
Okay. I love Swamp Thing because of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just his look and his story.
Yeah.
But powers-wise,
yeah,
I love Deadman.
Yeah, but you're not a big fan of Deadman before
you
found out about his powers.
No, I mean, I knew about him, but, I didn't, read comics or anything. But, yeah, it would have to go Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
I want to take a guess for yours.
Okay.
Constantine.
He's 1A. He tied. I like Constantine. I like the Keanu Reeves movie. I like the show. I've read the Hellblazer comics, but, him and Raven. I really have I like Raven. I've liked her since the Teen Titan comics. I think they did a little shitty version of her with the Teen Titans Go, which I don't recognize as a television show. But Raven is extremely powerful. She's probably one of the most powerful entities on the Teen Titans. So having Raven on the Justice League Dark is you really need her because you have Constantine who can deal with the demons. But you need somebody who's actually a demon. Mm-hmm. And having Raven, who is the spawn of Satan. You know what I mean? Having her on your team, it doesn't do you an injustice. No pun intended on the storyline that we were discussing, but I think Constantine and Raven would probably be my favorite. Look-wise, outfit-wise, Zatanna.
Yeah.
For sure. And if I could add somebody to the team that would have a great outfit, Starfire. Star Sapphire, because her costume is beyond the limits of being a superhero.
You ever see
She was like an orange stripper.
Joni?
Yeah, Roses.
Do her
of course I have.
Body paint?
Yeah.
Woo!
I think Star Sapphire is like a super stripper. Yeah. That's how her outfit looks. They've definitely slutted her up a little bit. Do you think that the team concept, the adding Swamp Thing and Zatanna and Constantine and Deadman, do you think that putting them together has revitalized these heroes that are on the team?
I think so, because, these heroes are strong characters, but not strong enough to hold on their own. Mm-hmm. So I feel them being in a group like this revitalizes them, because you're not going to be able to see a Swamp Thing movie, or you're not going to see... I mean, they have a Constantine movie, and they had a Constantine show, and it didn't really do that well. So I think bringing them together, I think, will be awesome, because it puts them back in the forefront.
Yeah. I agree and disagree a little bit. I agree that it's going to revitalize some heroes that you might not have seen, like a Swamp Thing, because they're really, before, a few years ago, Swamp Thing was a forgotten hero, right? So you didn't have, nobody really cared about Swamp Thing, knew about Swamp Thing. They said, oh, you know what, that was a shitty movie in the 80s or the 90s, whenever it came out. But even with Constantine's show getting canceled, he was still popular enough where the fans petitioned enough to get a CW Seed show. And also, the Hellblazer comics are huge. He's a very popular character when it comes to the comic books. So he doesn't need revitalization. I think the whole thing with the team concept, and even for Zatanna's part, season 2 of Young Justice introduced Zatanna, and she was the add-on in the Injustice video game. So she was becoming more of a serious player as well. So people are knowing who these heroes are. I think it gives more hope for Swamp Thing, but it also brings characters like Deadman and Nightmare Nurse and Andrew Bennett, brings all these people into the forefront. So you're able to, because honestly, it wasn't like they were fan favorites. Mm-hmm. They were the B list, the C list. Deadman had a good run in the Blackest Night storyline, which is a great storyline, but after that, he was gone. Like, again, he's not somebody who's going to carry on a single comic series, which he could. I think maybe if they gave him a short one piece, he'd be able to do it, like a one-shot issue, couple issues. But the storyline for Deadman needed to be on a team, because you're not going to see a Deadman movie or a Deadman series. You know what I mean? You're not going to see an Andrew Bennett series. You're not going to see an Etrigan series. These characters that no one really hears from. Raven, again, another character on the team, is on 2 teams. She's on the Teen Titans and she's on the Justice League Dark, and with the Teen Titans Go, she's very popular and one of the fan favorites. And even with the Teen Titans versus the Justice League, she's an extremely popular and strong character. And with the new, I think it's called the Judas Contract, the Teen Titans movie that comes out, she's going to be in it too, I believe, with her Damian Wayne. So I think that it brings attention to underappreciated and overlooked heroes, in my opinion. So on February 8th, a week from when we post this, like I said in the beginning, the Justice League Dark movie is coming out. It's an animated movie. Now, before this, this kind of just came out of nowhere. Said, oh, we're going to make a Justice League Dark animated movie. What are your thoughts on the Justice League Dark getting the animated treatment?
I think it's awesome, because the DC animation does a phenomenal job. Mm-hmm. Everything they've put out, I pretty much like. Especially, I mean, they started, years ago, but within the past 4 or 5 years, I mean, they've thrown out, Son of Batman, Killing Joke, Teen Titans Go, or Teen Titans vs. Justice League. I mean, and that's just within the past couple of years. They've done way more than that. Yeah,
Bad Blood, Batman vs. Robin, Throne of Atlantis, Justice League Gods and Monsters. Yeah. Wonder Woman movies, Justice League War, Flashpoint Paradox. Returns,
all 1 and 2.
Yeah, their movies are on point.
And then to bring this, I think is just amazing, because it's bringing new characters to the forefront.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome.
New characters too. Like, a lot of people think that this Justice League Dark is an old series. Yeah. You know what I mean? We've talked about, we made mention to it, we didn't really talk about it, but it's a new series, 2011. It's 6 years old, with characters that have existed before that, but as a team, as, you know, the dark side of the Justice League, they're new. Mm-hmm. So you'll get to see these characters, and their team is comprised of the same members, but, you know, you get to... not many people know about certain members of this team. I like the Justice League Dark getting the animated treatment, because I don't think this could have carried it in a solo movie. Well, you know what I mean? And we're going to talk about that. Yeah. I think what DC did that I agree with is made it an R rating, because having it with an R rating, it's not going to make it cheesy. It's not going to make it hokey. It's going to make it like The Killing Joke. And The Killing Joke, everyone was like, "Oh, that's a gamble, making it an R rating." I think it worked out pretty good. You and I went and saw it in the Fathom events. In theaters, yeah. I've never done a Fathom event, and I went to see a cartoon, an animated movie, and I was really excited for it. And I left a little
Yeah, I wasn't. I liked it, but the way it was hyped up and everything, and I know the storyline and. I liked it, but I was expecting it to be blown away. Yeah. And I wasn't.
No, I wasn't blown away either. I think, honestly, I would have liked to see Under the Red Hood get the rated R treatment, personally. With The Killing Joke. You know what I mean? But, it wasn't shit. It wasn't the anime Marvel movies that we went. Yeah. We've rented before. So, getting the animated treatment for me is fine, because, like you said, Warner Brothers and DC Animated have done very good. They haven't put out a bad property. No. Although, I haven't seen Justice League Gods and Monsters. It kind of looks weird. Do you ever see the previews for that? Came out maybe a year ago. It had, the weird-looking Wonder Woman, and, it looked like General Zod from,
it's a different,
It's like Owlman, right?
Yeah, it's like a different universe or something.
Yeah, it's like another multiverse part. Yeah. That looked pretty weird.
I'll still probably see it.
Yeah, I actually went, take a look inside the studio for our listeners' perspective. We usually throw on a movie or a TV show when we're recording, and we have it on mute in the background. And today we're watching Son of Batman, but I looked for, Throne of Atlantis, Gods and Monsters, and I was like, I'm not going to pay $5 to watch it on mute. You know what I mean? When I can just go to Netflix and we can watch Justice League War and Batman or Son of Batman. But I don't think that they've put out a bad property.
No, I haven't seen a bad iteration yet.
And once I find a DVD to Justice League versus Teen Titans, you'll like that one too. Do you think that the animated movie will do the team justice?
Yeah, I do. Because, like we just talked about, we haven't seen a bad iteration yet. So I think they will do it justice. And from what I've seen, the director, Jay Olivia, he's done 9 DC animated movies.
Wow. I didn't even check that. Do you remember which ones he's done?
I can, but I'm pretty sure. I think he did Killing Joke. Okay. But because I read the trivia for it, and it said, he's done 9. Jay Olivia. He actually just did, our last episode we watched or what we watched during our episode.
Justice League War.
And he did that.
He did not do Killing Joke or Bad Blood. But I'm sure, if he's done 9, he's obviously done the ones that we've seen and not the ones that I have in front of me. He probably did this one that we're watching.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm looking it up now, and alright, he has done, let's see here. He's done Batman Bad Blood, Batman vs. Robin, Batman Assault in Arkham, Justice League War, Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, Batman Dark Knight Returns 1 and 2, and he did 10 episodes of Young Justice, Green Lantern Emerald Knights, and he actually started in Marvel. Okay, nice. He did Invincible Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Next Avengers. But
he's done pretty much everything that's on Netflix for DC Animated and Marvel.
The 2 he has coming up is Teen Titans: The Judas Contract.
Yes.
And Justice League Dark.
Nice. So he's their go-to.
Yeah, and
he's their Zack Snyder of the DC animated universe.
But puts out good content.
Yeah.
Like Assault on Arkham, amazing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
The Dark Knight Returns series, great. Flashpoint, great.
Bad Blood was really good. I actually looked at Bad Blood's back and I saw it on there. So you think it's going to do the team justice?
Oh yeah,
I think so too. I think one, like you said, you've alluded to that they have a strong director. But the thing about having an animated movie is it's not as much of a physical toll on actors. So more actors would be like kind of drawn to it. You know what I mean? How often are you going to be able to get a chance to play Batman? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's not going to play Batman in it. Mm-mm. It's Jason O'Mara, right?
Yep.
So, and you know, Matt Ryan's returning, and
that's awesome.
Rosario Dawson's returning as Wonder Woman. So you have these characters, and the guy from The Longest Yard is playing Dead Man.
We'll talk about that later.
But like, this might be their only chance to play a superhero. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think Jerry O'Connell's in it too, right?
Jerry O'Connell's Superman. Yes.
So you have these characters that are iconic: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and characters that are not so iconic but still in DC canon, and you get a chance to play them. So I think you get the best of the best voice actors. That's why Tara Strong's in everything, because she's so damn good, and Carrie Payton's in things, and he's really good. So you have these, I guess, reliable actors to do great work. So I think they're not going to sign on to a shit movie. You would hope. So I think the anime treatment will definitely give it justice. I'm going to give you the main members of this Justice League Dark movie, okay? And then you can give me some thoughts that you have. Swamp Thing, Zatanna, Etrigan the Demon, Deadman, Constantine, and the Black Orchid. What do you think? What are some of your thoughts on him?
Well, Swamp Thing, I've talked about before, I love him.
Why do you love him?
Because he's weird.
Yeah.
Because he's
like Muckman.
Yeah. He's just this weird entity that fucking walks around and he probably stinks like all hell, coming from fucking swamp. Mm-hmm. And he's
just walking salmonella and malaria. Just like tons of mosquitoes probably festering on him. Just covered in moss and dirt and grime. He's the grimiest. He's got toads jumping out of him. He's like the grimiest superhero ever.
He probably smells like straight up sewer.
Yeah. He belongs in the Ninja Turtle universe.
Yeah.
Not the DC universe.
And then Zatanna, her powers are really cool. Mm-hmm. Her outfit is even better. And I really loved her in the second season of Young Justice.
Yeah, she was a good driving point in that.
And then Etrigan, he's a demon from hell.
Yeah.
But he sides with the good because he has a bond to a human named Jason Blood.
Have you seen... They released it yesterday. Did you see the two new stills or like TV spots for Justice League Dark?
No.
Where they summon Etrigan, and it's amazing, like the transformation from the human to the demon. And then there's a scene with Bruce Wayne. He's shaving, right? He's got the old manual razor. He's shaving, and he cuts himself, right? So he bends down, and just like in any fucking horror movie, right? They bend down, they wash their face, and you're expecting something to come up, right? So he comes up and he looks immediately at the mirror, and written on the mirror in the steam is Constantine. So he turns around and he goes into his bedroom. He's like, "What the fuck, Constantine?" Turns around and his whole room is painted. It looks like in blood, and it says Constantine everywhere.
Cool.
It was really cool. So I was really excited to see that, and it's the first true look at Etrigan.
Yeah.
You see this demon on the cover, and you're like, "What the fuck? Who is this guy?" And then they actually show him, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I can get behind that."
And Deadman. Mm-hmm. Again, love his ability. I want to see it in action.
I'm excited for the voice.
No, I am not.
I'm excited for the voice.
Fucking Brucey.
It's Brucey from Longest Yard.
Brucey. You know who he is? John Turturro's brother.
Really?
Yeah. His name is Nicholas Turturro.
Yeah.
And I love John Turturro.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's his brother.
Brucey.
And
He's got a perfect voice. Deadman doesn't like... Deadman has that high-pitched voice.
I just can't.
Like, "Hey guys, it's Deadman."
Like, when I seen it, I was like... Because I was strolling, I was like, is that Brucey?
Yeah, we've talked about it before, I think, on the podcast.
And then like, watching the trailer again, I'm like, oh, fucking Brucey.
Yeah, it's Brucey. I'm very excited. I think that's going to be...
If anyone doesn't know who Brucey is, he was...
he was Tracy Morgan's boyfriend
in the longest yard, and he thought he could play football. Remember when he was like, hike?
Got destroyed.
Yeah, he was horrible. He was hilarious.
He was great in that movie. He was great.
But that's the only thing I've ever seen him in. So I was looking up more up. He was like a very prominent character in NYPD Blue.
Okay, I know him as Brucey, and I'll forever know him as Brucey.
Constantine.
Matt Ryan.
Oh my God. That Matt Ryan's back. Yeah. And they modeled the look after.
Well, Matt Ryan looks identical to the John Constantine comic books. Like, blonde hair, scruffy, cigarette. Like, he looked like he just jumped from the pages of the comics, which is great. And, he seems very committed to this role. He played John Constantine in Arrow, and he's playing John Constantine on the CW CDAP. Yeah.
And then last is Black Orchid.
Uh-huh.
I don't know too much about her. I know she's shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm. Her suit, do you see her suit? With that purple, not black at all.
Yeah.
It's like purplish magenta.
Well, the Black Orchid flower is like a purple flower.
Yeah. Well, I know where they're going from it. What do you think? Like, why don't they just call her Orchid?
That's true.
Right? Why is it got to be black? So racist, DC. So what do you think you're looking forward to seeing there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I think it's going to be... I think they're going to knock it out of the park.
All right, so out of all of them, who do you think is the strongest? Who would you consider the strongest?
Probably Constantine.
Really?
Or Deadman.
I think Zatanna.
Think so?
Yeah, I think. I just mean, out of all of them, I believe Zatanna joins the Justice League. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no one else.
You don't see Deadman on the Justice League. I'm sure he might be. Like, I'm sure all the heroes are members of the Justice League. It's kind of like you're in AAA, you get a card. You get called when you're needed. Like, but Etrigan, like, we haven't really seen his powers. Mm-hmm. Swamp Thing, again, he's a walking moss ball, covered from, like, I told you, turd wrapped in moss. And then, I'm going Zatanna. I think she's the strongest member. My thoughts are that they assembled a great team. Oh, yeah. A little bit of the known, a little bit of the sexy, a little bit of the ugly, and a little bit of the unknown. The wild card, I have two wild cards. I have Black Orchid and Etrigan, because I really don't know much about them. Yeah. So they're wild cards to me. I'm familiar with Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing, and Deadman, but I'm really curious to see, like, I'm going to pay attention to them, but for sure I'm going to pay a lot more attention to Black Orchid and Etrigan, because I want to know more about them. I don't know how old Etrigan is. He's probably a newer character.
Probably.
But, I don't know. Would you have added any other members?
Nightmare Nurse.
Nightmare Nurse.
Well, because you think, like we said earlier, you always need someone there to help heal you.
Yeah.
And if you're fighting this big, you're fighting this huge battle against all these entities and stuff, well, you're going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. And then, plus, I love her name. So.
Do you think anybody's going to die in this movie? You think we lose a member of the Justice League Dark in the first Justice League Dark movie?
I don't know. I mean, someone's got to be wounded.
I'm curious.
I don't know who the villain is. Do you?
No, I know they alluded to it, but I can't remember. I feel like it's a big demon. I'm not quite sure. So you want Nightmare Nurse, just Nightmare Nurse?
Yep.
I thought Raven would have been a great addition, but I understand why they didn't put her in there because of just Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, and they don't want to oversaturate it, and because she's known. I would really like to see...
she's going to be in the Judas contract, right?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then Andrew Bennett. I think now would be a perfect time for them to jump on the vampires, because Marvel's not doing anything with Blade. No. And then a character called Shade.
Shade the Changeling.
Yeah, I would like to see Shade in this movie
Shade
as well.
the Changing Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would like to see a male version of Mystique. And
we also warp reality.
Yeah. So I'd like to see those characters in there. With this lineup, mostly unknowns, do you think it's going to bring in more fans, or do you think this is going to alienate some fans?
No, I think it's going to... I think it's going to bring more fans, because, like you said, the people that you know. But then it's going to bring other characters that you don't know more to the forefront.
Yeah.
Because, yes, in recent years, people know Constantine and Zatanna.
Yep.
But,
and Swamp Thing.
And Swamp Thing. But, like, not many people know Deadman. And no one, I mean, Etrigan and... Black Orchid. So I think it's going to bring in new fans because you have the fans of the Constantine series and you're going to have the fans of the Teen Titans series. And bringing all these characters... Or, I mean, I'm sorry, Teen Titans, Young Justice.
Yeah.
And bringing in these newer characters, I think it's just going to bring in more fans because it just brings everything else on the forefront.
Yeah, and to go back to some of the points that I was making a little earlier, I'm a big fan of the dark elements, and you're a big fan of the dark elements, and we're a big fan of certain heroes on here. Like Constantine's one of my favorites. But I also said that I'm going to pay close attention to Etrigan and Black Orchid because I really don't know much about them. So having introducing new characters and new unknown characters is going to draw my attention to them for sure because I want to know as much as I possibly can. I feel like if you're a geek and you're really into superheroes and stuff like that, you want to know as much source material as possible. You want to know as much about each character in the movie. So when they come up in discussion or you talk about them to somebody or they're in another movie, you know everything about them, and you're not surprised. Or you're surprised, and you're looking forward to seeing things that you've read about. I feel like, that's why, like, when we watch TV, I know you like to watch movies and then go right to IMDb. Mm-hmm. And you're checking as you're watching the movies. And then there's a thing on Amazon Fire where you can, it's kind of like, not picture in picture, but it's brought to you by IMDb, where you can watch and it'll tell you who's in the scene and who's playing what and what they've played in. So, everything's kind of like that third screen mentality where I want to watch something and I want to be like, oh, I don't know much about Ra's al Ghul or the Lazarus Pit. I'm going to go back and read about it, and then next time the Lazarus Pit's up there and someone's like, oh, what's going on with this? Why is this glowing green pool? What is that? Oh, well, that's Lazarus Pit. What's the Lazarus Pit for? Blah, blah. And I can go into, like, how it heals people. It's from the dark. Like, it's mystical. This is who uses it. This is who has used it. I want to know as much as I possibly can about the characters. Now, this is the thing that worries me about DC for a second. The regular Justice League characters are going to be in it. Yeah. Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. I don't know if anybody else is going to be in it, but those are the three that I've seen. If they weren't in this movie, do you think it would be a success or a flop? Do you think they're worried and that's why they put them in there?
I think they are. I think that because, again, a lot of people don't know a lot of these characters. Mm-hmm. So they're like, well, if someone goes Justice League Dark, I don't know who the hell half these people are. But they pick up the cover and say, oh, Batman's in it. Yep. So, you know what? I want to give it a try because I like the DC animated, and I liked all the Batman iterations. So, why wouldn't I like this one? So, and I don't want them in it. Yeah. Because I want...
It kind of weakens the team.
Yeah, it weakens the team and just kind of takes the spotlight off. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see a Justice League Dark... I don't want to see Batman. He's in every... Yeah. DC animation movie. Yep. Why? I don't want to see him again. I love Batman. But I want to see more Swamp Thing. I want to see more Deadman. I want to see more Constantine. Yeah. I mean, I know they're understanding that I'm sure something comes wrong and the Justice League can't handle it. So they go to the Justice League Dark because of their
I feel like
dealings with the occult. And
I feel like it's going to be a Justice League movie that they... Just like you said, there's a problem, they go right to the Justice League Dark, and that's why they need help. And at the end, it's, oh, well, see you later. I feel like they're extremely worried about this not being a success because it's an unknown property, or it's a property that has a niche kind of group of true geeks and fans, kind of like the Teen Titans, where they had to do Teen Titans versus Justice League before they just do Teen Titans Judas Contract. They did that because... They're worried that people are like, it's a PG-13 movie, so they're worried that everyone's going to think it's that corny Cartoon Network, Teen Titans Go, where cyborgs yelling booyah, and it's stuff like that. So they're worried about that. So they throw Batman and they throw Wonder Woman and they throw Superman in there to make sure that, oh, you know what? Batman is on the cover. This is a Justice League movie. I recognize this. And then they'll go into it and they'll they'll see, oh, this is not a Justice League movie. If it were in the theaters, I feel like it would be a flop. Because, like you said, no one knows the Justice League Dark. But now that you can actually see the cover and you can see who's on it, and they prominently put Batman on the front of the cover.
Yeah,
it's a Batman movie featuring Justice Dark, essentially. So I feel like that's why they included it. That they were worried it was going to be a flop. Do you think that this is going to be a one-shot, or will we see any more of the Justice League Dark?
I kind of hope not.
In the sense of what?
I want to see more.
Okay, so
I don't want it to be a one and done. I hope I see more. I mean, look like what they did with the Teen Titans. They did Justice League vs. Teen Titans, and now they're getting a Teen Titans
Judas contract. Another one that I didn't even know about until I saw a picture of it yesterday.
So hopefully, and that seems more of a Teen Titans movie. So it kind of seems like what they did was kind of same thing. We're talking about Justice League Dark, and I haven't seen Justice League vs. Teen Titans.
Yeah,
but they incorporated the Justice League to get people involved in the Teen Titans.
Yeah,
and then now it says, okay, that was we're gonna give Teen Titans their own movie.
Yeah, it was like a test.
Yeah, and I kind of hope that's just the same way with this.
I kind of think it's gonna be a one shot. I think that they're gonna. This is just an opportune time for it to come out to reintroduce Constantine and to hype people up for the CWC show. And then they'll say, you know what, if there's more future for the Justice League Dark, we'll do it for a live action. We'll do a live action movie, which kind of goes to my next point. Now, they've put this Justice League Dark animated movie out. Do you think that they're going to make a Justice League Dark live action movie?
I hope so. And they've talked about it.
Yeah, with Guillermo.
Well, they have a director already set.
Who was going to direct it?
Doug Liman.
Mm-hmm.
Because Guillermo del Toro for years is like, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And it seems like with a lot of stuff, he wants to do stuff and it never comes to, true. But,
yeah, he stopped pursuing it because of Crimson Peak. And we know how bad that was.
But I definitely, with Doug Liman, who has done really good movies. He's done parts of the Bourne series. He's done...
He's done a lot. He's done a lot.
Yeah,
it's fair to say.
Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stuff. So, I think he would be good, and the production has been announced. Nothing has been set. No casts. I think a writer's been involved, but that's about it.
Yeah, I don't think they're moving forward with it at this point. I know that they've announced it, but it's not in the DC pipeline at all. If they do it, it's not going to be set in the DC Entertainment universe, so it's going to be a one-shot movie, which to me makes absolutely no sense. I feel like if you're going to have this series, and they're in the same same studios, they should be tied together. Mm-hmm. They should all connect eventually. But I don't think they're going to do it. I think that if they were going to do it, they wouldn't have put this movie out, personally. Would I like to see it? Oh, absolutely. I don't know if they have faith in it. Maybe this is a test. Maybe this is, if Justice League Dark does well on animated, it's rated R. Again, another thing. They made it rated R. Mm-hmm. So if it was like a PG-13 movie, then it would just be just like all the other animated movies. We're not going to see a Batman killing joke live action, so they made the animated. I don't think they're going to make a Justice League Dark movie because of the animated now. They're like, all right, well, this is what the fans want. Let's give them an animated movie. Our animated movies are much more successful. Let's do that. I'm worried that we'll never see the Justice League Dark because they're like, oh, you know what? We want to focus more on Batman. They want to focus on the messes that they've created. Yeah. Every movie that's come out in the DC Entertainment universe or is coming out is described as a discombobulated mess. You don't hear problems on the Justice League Dark or the DC animated universe. They put them out, and I guess it's less people to deal with, less egos. You just go in there and you record, and that's it. You don't have the actors wanting to direct it or produce it. They just go in there and they do their thing. Long story short, I think that this has stopped the chances of the Justice League Dark being a live action movie, unfortunately. Would you rather Guillermo do it than Doug Liman?
No, Because Guillermo is weird,
He's weird.
It fits his MO with all of his movies. But I really think Doug Liman would do a good job.
Yeah, a fresh take.
Yeah,
because it seems like Guillermo's so attached to that dark culture that maybe he won't he won't take risks because it didn't pay off in Hellboy or it didn't pay off in Crimson Peak, so he'll stay away from it. So I think that I like to see a Dougie Lyman do it too. So if we ever get a live action movie, I love hypotheticals, right? If we ever get this live action movie, who would you have on the team, and who would you have play those members on the team? I bet you I know two of them.
I know you know two of them.
I'm going to say Cruise and Perlman.
Yep.
All right, so tell me who's Tom Cruise playing and who's Ronnie Pearl's playing?
Constantine.
John Cruise. Tom Cruise, who may or may not be the next Hal Jordan as John Constantine.
I've talked about it.
You texted me about it yesterday. He's proven he can pull off the sci-fi movies.
And he can. And he's worked with Doug Liman, and they proved it to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think he would, even though I would love Matt Ryan, I don't think that would ever happen.
Is Tom Cruise a big box office draw anymore? I know he's in a lot of movies, and there's the difference between being in a lot of movies and then being a box office draw. We like the movies that he's come out, but has the general public really liked his movies? I didn't hear anything special about Jack Ryan.
Mission Impossibles are good.
Well, they're good. But, I didn't hear anything special about Edge of Destruction until it came out on DVD. Oblivion, stuff like that.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Is he still a box office draw, or do you think that whole Scientology thing has kind of, skewed people's opinion on him? I like Tom Cruise, so I'm not disagreeing your choice.
I think he's still a draw. I wouldn't call him, your top 5 actors out there.
No.
But I definitely think, he's been around for years, and in the past...
His movies have progressively gotten better.
6-7 years, and he's found his niche.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you. Listen, if he wasn't a household name in a box office draw, Universal wouldn't choose him to start their Monster Universe with. So I'm with you.
So
he's not my choice, but I'm with you.
Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Ron Perlman.
Swamp Thing.
That's Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really need to talk about it.
I picked him too. It was either Ron Perlman or Javier Bardem.
But you know what I mean? Ron Perlman.
Can I ask you a question about Ron Perlman? Is he overrated or underrated?
I think he's underrated.
Okay, because you don't see him in a lot of movies other than the ones that we find on Netflix and we're really, Ron Perlman's in this, unless he's doing CG. So is it just because he looks the way he looks and he takes on the CG movies?
He's not a great looking dude.
But he's he's pretty buff.
Yeah.
He's a big
I mean, he
man.
was
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him. He was in Hellboy. He was...
And not only that, but he was in Sons of Anarchy for years.
He did great.
Yeah.
Okay, who else you got?
Natana.
Okay.
Nina Dobrev.
Okay, from Vampire Diaries.
Vampire Diaries and Let's Be Cops, and she's in the new Triple X.
Okay.
She's good looking, and
you just want to see her in the outfit, you fucking pervert.
Yep. Nightmare Nurse.
Okay.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Okay. Who you don't see her in anything anymore.
No.
I think she stopped acting.
No, she
canceled all of her upcoming movies.
Yeah.
Even the Little Mermaid reboot, she canceled it. So I don't know what's going on with her. So maybe this will be the resurgence of Chloe Grace Moretz.
Etrigan.
Okay.
Motion capture by Andy Serkis.
Okay.
Because he's a demon, and
yeah.
I think you would need to do a CG character.
Yeah, you can't have 2 full prosthetic characters. Is Ron Perlman, would he be CG or would you go practical?
It depends how you can do them.
I'd go absolutely practical. Grimy and gross. Yeah. Who else would you have?
Dead Man.
Okay.
Not the voice, and you might give me shit on this. Jude Law.
Jude Law. Okay. He doesn't get any love.
No, he doesn't.
No.
And he's got that thin, gaunt look.
Yeah.
Shave his head, make him white.
He's going to be in make him white. He is white.
Well, I'm talking about
I'm kidding with you.
Powder.
He's in the new upcoming King Arthur movie. He plays the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he in Warcraft?
No.
Who am I thinking? Ben Foster. Thinking of Ben Foster in Warcraft.
But I think he don't get love.
No, he doesn't. You know, him and Jake Gyllenhaal don't really get superhero love or contention. I'd like to see them both. Is that all you got?
Yeah.
All right, ready for mine? John Constantine, obviously Matt Ryan. Yeah. He's played him before. He loves the character. He doesn't need to do the research. He is the character. Perfect. Swamp Thing, Ronnie Perlman, because it's Ron Perlman. I think Swamp Thing needs to have a deep, menacing voice, and I think Ron Perlman has a deep, menacing voice. And he's a physical specimen for his age. He's a big dude, and he's a good actor. I like Ron Perlman. Zatanna, smaller, kind of quirky, but strong. I'm going Anna Kendrick.
Okay.
I think that she would fit that role pretty well, and you don't really see her in a serious movie or a dark movie. So, the darkest movie she did was The Accountant.
Yeah.
And she was pretty good in The Accountant. And she wants to play a superhero, so give her Zatanna. Raven is going to be in it. Eva Green. She looks dark to begin with. Like, she looks like a demonic force, and I love Eva Green. It was either Eva Green or Aubrey Plaza. And you know where I stand. But the thing about Eva Green that I really like is that she really likes to play those dark roles. You know, you saw her in 300, the second one, and in Penny Dreadful, and Miss Peregrine's House of Peculiar Children. Her eyes do a lot of the acting for her. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the thing with Raven is when she turns demonic, her eyes, it's right in the eyes. So I really think that she would be a great person to play Raven. For Dead Man, I'm going Rami Malek from Mr. Robot. It's about time we start seeing him in a movie.
Besides Night at the Museum.
Yeah, besides Night at the Museum. He's a good actor. Mm-hmm. He's kind of weird looking. Dead Man's kind of weird looking. I think he's young and upcoming. I think this would be a good bridge for him. And then I would go Andrew Bennett, the vampire. Who do you think I'd go with?
I don't know.
Eddie Redmayne. My man needs to be in the sci-fi supernatural realm and be positive, not like in Jupiter Ascending. And I think, again, it all goes back to Marvel has not jumped on the vampire bandwagon with Blade. And they have a amazing entity sitting on the bench. And DC would have an amazing entity sitting on the bench too. Hit it while, vampires are, Twilight's over, True Blood's over. It's time to move forward. Underworld's hopefully over. So move forward. And Eddie Redmayne, he's a known face. You know what I mean? He's not an A-lister. Well, he might be an A-lister now. Fantastic Beasts kind of put him...
That, and he's won an Oscar.
Theory of Everything. And
2 Oscars.
Not the other Bowling girl. The Danish girl, yeah. So he's been in great movies, and people know who he is. So I think I have a kind of a A-list, B-list kind of...
That's how I kind of felt like...
Yeah, I knew you were going to put Nightmare Nurse on. As soon as I was reading, when I was brushing up on their history, I was like, he's going to love Nightmare Nurse. All I'm going to see is Nightmare Nurse.
And I've talked about Nightmare Nurse 3 separate times.
About 3 or 4 times. You're the first one to bring her up. She's in all your movies. She's in everything you want. Oh, my God. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about. Would you rather see a Justice League Dark movie, or would you rather have this as a series? With your cast?
Movie.
Okay. Would it be a franchise, or would it just be a one-shot movie?
One and see what happens.
Okay. I'd like to see it as a series. Maybe a Fargo kind of series, where the teams are... Or think of Young Justice, where the teams are kind of interchangeable. Mm-hmm. So you have my team, and then certain ones stay around, and then they introduce more people. Nightmare Nurse, and Shade, and, Etrigan, and, more characters, Black Orchid. You have introduced these characters in there, and then maybe they fight Papa Midnight, or, who I want to see them fight? Do you remember this would be my villain for the movie, and I hope it's the villain in this movie, but I know it's not. Remember in Young Justice in 2nd season when they fought the Light? Yeah. Clarion the Witch Boy?
Oh, I hate that.
With the cat?
Yeah.
Oh, I want him in a movie.
I want him in a movie
so much. Clarion the Witch Boy. I think he's great. I would like McLovin to play him.
He could.
Or Michael Cera.
With that whiny.
Yep. Oh, man.
And a cat.
Yeah, Clarion the Witch Boy in Justice League Dark movie. Sign me up. I'd be ready for it. For 100%. But I'd also like to see him fight the Light. That would be a great villain for a movie. You bring in like Brain, and you bring in Vandal Savage and Clarion the Witch Boy, and that gorilla, that French gorilla, Moonswall, Hormone, or whatever his name was. You bring him in.
Grod French.
Yeah,
local.
French Grod. Bring them in, and I think that would be perfect. All right, do you have anything for the Geek Gallery?
No.
The Black Adam discussion.
Well,
He's getting his own movie.
Yeah, we talk about DC, even though it'll be a few weeks after this. DC has thrown out a bunch out there. This past week was with the Black Adam movie, and then the short list.
Yeah, for the Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, and some decent ones, some not so decent ones.
Joel McHale.
I can't see Joel McHale as a superhero.
Yeah, neither can I.
Again, Tom Cruise. Even though he's older, I wouldn't mind seeing him.
He fits the universe as far as age is concerned.
So I'm on board with Tom Cruise. Ryan Reynolds. I think Ryan Reynolds wasn't a bad Green Lantern. He was a good Green Lantern in a shit movie.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I don't think they're going to.
I don't think he should go back to it. I think that's one and done.
Bradley Cooper, who was actually
he was considered.
Well, he was Martin Campbell's choice in the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds has stated that's why he thinks the movie sucked, is because he wanted Bradley Cooper. The studio said no, we want Ryan Reynolds.
And that's where they went.
And they went with Ryan Reynolds, and Martin Campbell was pissed off and treated Ryan Reynolds like shit.
Yeah, and then you have Armie Hammer and then Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is my choice. I wouldn't be upset if it was anybody other than Joel McHale, personally, or Dax Shepard. I don't want either one of them to be considered for anything.
I'm surprised he's not in there because him and Joe McHale kind of...
Yeah, tall, skinny white guys.
Yeah, they're kind of on the same level.
Well, he's too busy doing chips, let's be honest. Then you had Black Adam's getting his own franchise, like we said. Probably won't appear in Shazam, and may appear in 2018's Aquaman. We'll see what happens. Other than that, I don't think there's anything to geek out about. No. This will air 2 weeks from when we're recording it, so whatever we would be geeking out about is kind of...
By then, we might know who Green Lantern is.
Yeah, so if you're reading this was in the past. Let's plug ourselves, and then we'll get out of here. We are Active Geek on Facebook. We are the Active Geek Podcast on the iTunes Store, Spreaker, and SoundCloud. We are also on the Geek Culture Cast Network on Spreaker and iTunes Store. We are the Active Geek on Instagram, and we are Active Geek _ on Twitter. So February 8th, 2017. Do us a favor, go pick up the Justice League Dark in any store that sells movies, so we can get more Swamp Thing, more Zatanna, and more Dark entities. And see ya.